Hi guys, welcome to Kiki TV. I love today's topic. Today's topic is the difference between pleasure and happiness. And the difference is stark. It could lead to you having a wonderful life or a horrible life, depending on which you choose to chase. So dopamine comes from pleasure. Dopamine is the hormone that's like the reward system for things that are pleasurable. Sex, eating, social media, gaming, shopping, gambling, like alcohol, drugs, whatever, all of these things give you a hit of dopamine, right? And serotonin is what comes from being happy. So happiness creates serotonin, and serotonin is long-term happiness, contentment and peace and calm and joy and feeling more free and being able to control your weight and sleeping better. Like serotonin is the magic hormone for all things good in the world. And you need it or else you're going to become depressed, right? So when you create dopamine, it feels so good. And then you keep wanting more and more. As a matter of fact, when the makers of Facebook created social media, they knew that they could manipulate the human brain by making people drop dopamine with the bells and the whistles and the likes and the comments. All of that drops dopamine for us, which is the reward pleasure system. But it is short term. It is not long term. And so what happens is we want the dopamine, so we stay on social media. They knew that if they manipulated our brains to create more dopamine, that we would stay on longer, because dopamine can cause a person to become addicted. And look at our society now. Everyone walks around with their heads down. Nobody's looking up anymore. They knew that they were going to change the way the world was, right? And they did it anyway for money. So the thing about dopamine also is that the more you make, the less you feel it. You build a tolerance to dopamine. And when you're building a tolerance to dopamine, but you still want to feel it, you do the thing over and over again. Like, if you're a recovered addict or an addict in addiction, you know that in the beginning, when you did the drug or drank, it was amazing. But then after a while, you couldn't get the same high. It's because you can't feel the dopamine anymore. Your pleasure center is becoming dull, right? So you just don't feel as good anymore. And also, which is shocking and kind of revolutionary once you know it, because you're becoming conscious, the more dopamine you make, even though you don't feel it, the more your serotonin goes down. And if your serotonin is going down, you are becoming depressed and anxious, which is why we have a generation of children who are addicted to social media. I mean, and a generation of adults who are addicted to social media, but who are really unhappy and have a lot of anxiety and depression because their dopamine is up, they're not feeling the pleasure, and their serotonin is down, so they're not feeling happy. They're feeling, horrible. Hopeless and lonely. These are all depression things. So once you know this, then you can change it. Very important. Like, this is why knowledge is power. This is why this excites me so much, because I'm a recovered addict also. I have been 13 years sober. And once you know that the drug affects your brain in a way that it makes you want more and more, right? It's almost out of your hands. And by the way, if you're a trauma victim, if you have had trauma or a trauma survivor, addiction is so much easier than living your life, right? So then there's a serious correlation between people who have gone through trauma and who are addicts. I have not met an addict who hasn't been through some kind of trauma. I'll tell you the truth, because we're craving pleasure and reward because it makes us feel better, right? And it gets us away from the PTSD. Amazing stuff. So what we want to do is we want to get away from the short-term gratification, pleasure, reward of dopamine, and we want to move into the long-term happiness of serotonin. So how do you do that? First of all, you stop chasing anything that's giving you this like short-term blast, right? That you know you just can't sustain it. It's not sustainable. So you want to stop that. And then you want to work on things that do make you happy, you know, really happy. Happiness is health, you know, pleasure, it's okay. We have dopamine because pleasure is a wonderful gift, you know, but you eat a good meal and then you don't want to like binge eat 10 more of those. That's when it becomes bad for you. You can enjoy the meal and then you can be done with it. You know, you want to be able to enjoy sex, but you don't want it to be an addiction. You know, you want to be able to have a drink with dinner, you know, have a glass of wine with dinner, but like not be drinking morning, noon, and night, right? So moderation is key. And then if you can't do those things, if you can't be moderate, then consider staying away from the thing that's triggering you to act addictively, right? So how do you get happy? You can eat foods that make you happy. You can go to nature. You can get sunshine. You can exercise. There's so many ways you can create things. Creating things create serotonin. Work on your health because happiness is health, you know? So like if I'm going for the dopamine, I'm going to have like a McDonald's meal, right? But if I'm going for happiness, I'm going to have a salad, you know, with maybe some tofu or some chicken, because maybe I won't get the same pleasure as this horrible food will give me short term, but long term, this will make me live longer and have more energy and feel better, right? So I hope that this is clear. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about, gaming. So gaming, there's this thing called aggressive dopamine where bullying and being demeaning and judging and blaming and all of these things cause you to drop dopamine. So you could literally be addicted to being a bad person. You could be addicted to behaving badly, right? So how do you stop that? You know, you have to recognize that it feels good for you to put other people down, gossip about other people's problems, be mean and aggressive and demeaning, and then stop that. That's what you have to do. And imagine if you're gaming, right? So you have all the bells and whistles that give you dopamine, and then you're murdering people, and that gives you dopamine, you know? So gaming is a serious addiction in the DSM-5. I mean, I've read case studies where people forget to feed their children and lose their children because they're gamer zombies. It's all manipulation of your brain chemistry. So get free, get your life. You can heal. Do not let them control you. You control yourself, you know, meditate, learn to control your impulses, heal your trauma, you know, stop being so impulsive. You can do this. Get off of social media, look up and live, go hug a tree or put your face in the sun, you know, take control of your life. That's the point, because these people are out here. They know that they can control you and make money off of you if they can control your mind. Unplug. Thank you so much for joining. See you next time. I hope you love this video as much as I love making it. Bye for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out.